Okay, in this video we are going to demonstrate the assembly and installation of an Eley wood post mount hose reel. Now when you order a wood post mount hose reel, what you're actually going to get is a wall mount hose reel along with our wood post kit. And these two combined will give you the wood post mount hose reel. And so if you ordered the extra capacity wood post hose reel, then you're also going to get, along with the wood post kit, our extra capacity kit. And these three items together will give you the extra capacity, the large capacity wood post mount hose reel. But today we're just going to assemble the standard capacity reel. Okay? Now the first thing that we want to do is we're going to want to open up the hose reel box. And in order to do that, there are some instructions along the side of the box here. What we want to do is we want to lay the box flat. And we want, step 2 says, make sure that this side is up. And then we'll open the flaps. These are glued flaps. Now typically what you can do, they're glued on the ends here. You can get your hand in the middle here and pull up. If you have difficulty doing that, what you can do is get something like a putty knife and get in there, and you can kind of maybe get in behind there and loosen up the glue with the putty knife. If you don't have a putty knife, then just get a metal barbecue grill spatula and you can get in behind there and maybe loosen it up that way as well. Okay, so that's one way you can get it. Don't use a plastic one. It would need to be a metal spatula. But we're just going to get our hands in behind there, open these up. Okay, and the reason that we specify a certain direction up is that when you pull the trays out, there are some parts in there you don't want to fall out. So what you'll do then is you'll get your hand underneath here. There's a plastic tray here, and then just slide it all out like that. Okay? So now once you get that out, you can lift this top tray, and then there's a sleeve here that you can remove. And what I like to do is I like to get all the parts laid out before I start the assembly process. Okay, you got your owner's manual. This is your arm and axle assembly. And then you have two flanges. We'll get both of those laid out. Get the plastic trays. The reason we ship them in plastic trays is to protect the paint, so they show up in really good condition, not scratched or anything like that. So we have the two flanges, the owner's manual, and this is the wall plate. And again, this wall plate will be attaching to the wood post. If it wasn't a wood post, you could mount it right to a wall. And so anyway, there's that. Then here's the hardware tray, the brass swivel, and then here is a tray with a lot of the other components. So this is all the parts that you need, and we'll start the assembly process. It doesn't actually take that long. So the owner's manual will be for the wall mount hose reel, and we'll just go through the process here. It's going to show you the contents, okay, and what tools you need. Now there is a QR code here, which will take you to the assembly video, which will be this video plus the other video assembly videos for the rest of our models. But step 1 is to attach the two flange pieces together. So what you want to do there is you take the back flange, which is this one with the embedded nuts, okay, lay it down. The front flange has got this opening plus a place for the handle and a place for the cam lever brake, a slot there. That's going to sit on top, okay? And what you want to do is you want to line up these three holes. They're equidistant, so there is no right or wrong way to put it together. All three holes will line up. And then the three screws to attach it are part of this assembly here. So go ahead and open up this clamshell. And it's these three screws right here. And what you're going to want to do is take this wrench is all you need to put the entire reel together. Okay, so we're going to take a screw, we're going to put it on the end of the wrench there, and then just feed it straight down into the opening. And just get it started. Don't tighten it down until you get all three started. This is step 1 in the assembly manual. Okay, now once you get all three started, you can go ahead and tighten them all the way down firmly. Now, if you had the extra capacity kit, if you have the larger model, you would actually, there would be a step in between here. You would want to reference the owner's manual that came with the extra capacity, because there is a spacer that goes in between here to widen that drum out. So on the extra capacity kit, we have a separate video showing that assembly process. But again, for the standard capacity reel, just go ahead and tighten down all 3 screws. As you can see there, all 3 are tightened down. All right. So now, if we go back and reference the owner's manual, the next step is to attach the crank handle. Now the crank handle comes with a screw pre-assembled into the center shaft, so you just want to loosen that up. Probably use your wrench here. This is a 5mm and this is 8mm. Okay, you'll use the 5mm for most of this. Now the crank handle, you remove that screw and then you feed it into this opening, and then from below you get the screw started. Okay, and what it's going to do, it's going to actually pull that in, and it's kind of wedging it in there. So once you get it in there, hand tighten it down, grab your wrench, and then firmly tighten it down. And you'll know when it gets tight, and you still can free spin that. Okay, so that's step 1 and step 2. Step 3. Actually, that was step 3, putting the handle on. Now, step 4 is to put the wall plate together. And when you do the wood post mount hose reel, the arm assembly is designed to attach to the wall plate in 2 different positions. This position, and you can flip it around and put it in this position. This position is for a parallel wall mount. This position is for a perpendicular wall mount. Okay, you can see when it's mounted to the wall, the hose will get pulled straight away from the wall. For a wood post mount hose reel, it must be assembled into the parallel configuration. Perpendicular configuration will not work. So when you mount it to a wood post, it has to be mounted into a parallel configuration. So go ahead and remove the 2 screws on the bottom. Use the 8mm side of your wrench. Get it broke free. Remove the 2 screws. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to attach it to the wall plate. Feed that through there. Get it started. Second one started. Turn that around so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, and then once you get them started, grab your 8mm wrench, go ahead and tighten them down. I don't know if I got that one started. Yep. Okay. So, so we got it assembled into the parallel configuration. The next step actually is to go to the wood post. We need to mount this to the wood post before we complete the assembly of the hose reel. Now in the wood post kit, there's instructions, and in the instructions there is a QR code which will take you to an article on our website which will show you how to install the wood post. Okay, if you've never installed a wood post into the ground before, this article will show you how to do that. We've already completed steps 1 through 4. Now on the brackets, we attach the bracket to the wall plate, and those brackets then are going to attach the wall plate to the wood post. Okay, now the brackets, go ahead and pull this out. So you get 4 brackets, 4 wood screws, and then 4 stainless steel bolts or screws, and these are designed to attach these brackets to the wall plate. Okay, these wall plates or these brackets are designed so you can mount the hose reel to either a 4x4 post or a 6x6 post or a 4x6 post, either way. When you go to attach it, it's going to be vertically like this with either the arm at the top or the arm at the bottom. I think the instructions show the arm on the bottom. Either way will work, okay? And we'll demonstrate that on the post. But when you go to attach it, if it is to a 6x6 post, you'll attach the short ear to the wall plate. If it's to a 4x4 post, you'll attach the long ear to the wall plate. And so that will determine how you attach it. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to get 1 bracket attached. And we'll follow the instructions like they're shown in the manual, and we'll put the arm anchored at the bottom. But we're going to mount this to a 4x4 post. So what we want to do is take the long portion, put it on here, put your screw through there, the nut on the back side, and we're just going to snug it tight. We're not going to tighten it real tight. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this to the wood post, mark this hole, drill a pilot hole, and then anchor this in and finish the assembly to the other brackets. Okay, so if you've got your post installed, we've got the post installed here, follow the instructions. You want to make sure that you install your post within 5 feet of your spigot so that your inlet hose can reach. Also, your wall mount hose reel came with mounting hardware, and then that's attaching it to a wall. You will not need this hardware, so you can just hold on to that, save it for something else, or throw it away. Also, in the instruction manual, when it comes to step 5, in the wall mount hose reel manual, you'll skip step 5 because that's all about attaching it to either lap siding or a brick wall. And so once we get the wall plate attached here, then you'll come back to step 6 and finish the assembly with the wall mount hose reel. Keep in mind that regardless of what size post you have, whether it's 4x4, 6x6, or 4x6, there are 4 sides that you can mount your reel to, okay? And your reel will function differently depending on what side you mount it to. So on the front here, obviously the reel will be going parallel to the wall. If you mount it to the side, can be pulled off perpendicular to the wall. And over there, that's typically going to be a right-handed rewinding installation. Or you can mount it on this side, and again, it'll pull perpendicular. The hose will pull out straight away from the wall, and this will be more of a left-handed rewinding. And if you install the post far enough away from the wall, you can actually mount the hose reel to the backside of the post. So just keep in mind, and it doesn't matter whether you have the arm attachment at the bottom or at the top. It's a personal preference. Both are acceptable, and so you can do that. Now, this is the standard capacity. This would be the extra capacity. The extra capacity has the longer axle because you're going to widen the drum on the reel. And again, it's the same situation. You can install it on either side. So when you go to install your wood post, just keep in mind where you want the reel mounted and that type of application. What some customers do too, if they don't like the offset for the perpendicular, pulling the hose straight away from the wall, they might install what we call a backer board, install a board here, and then that would allow you to mount the reel like this, install a board to the post, whatever height is comfortable for operation. We typically say about belt high is the center of the reel, and then you can install it. Now, this board is going to have to be a 2x10, at least 10-inch wide board, because a 2x8 will not be wide enough to install the wall plate. So you can do that, and again, you can do it on either side. Now, another option is if you want perpendicular. Some customers will actually install a second wood post. 16 inches on center, these mounting holes are 16 inches on center. So if you mounted a second post here, you could set your reel up that way. Now again, perpendicular, this is the configuration for right-handed rewinding. If you wanted left-handed rewinding, you'd install it like this. And then the handle's over here, so you'd be cranking it in with your left hand. Regardless of how you set it up, you always want to set it up so the reel pulls off, the hose pulls off the reel and gets reeled back onto the reel from the top of the wrap. You don't want to do it from the bottom of the wrap, okay? And when we show you how to, in our video where we show you how to attach the hose to the reel, we explain all that. So the other thing about using a board like this, we've actually had some customers get pretty creative in how they use the wood post. They'll mount the board to the back. They'll put hangers for their watering tools or other items. They'll put little trays for their gloves or whatever. So you can turn a wood post into kind of a outdoor watering station where you can stage a lot of your outdoor watering products. So keep that in mind when you're considering the wood post option. But we'll go ahead and follow the instructions on the manual. Again, we've basically kind of hand tightened one bracket on here. This is for a 4x4 post. And so what we want to do, the instructions in the wood post kit say to position the top bracket about belt high. Honestly, when it comes to how high to mount this, it's a personal preference. I typically like to put the axle of the reel, which is the center of the reel, about belt high. But again, depending on who's going to be using it the most and what their height is, you can adjust the height on the post to whatever you want. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and mount this one about right here. And so we got the one bracket on here. What we want to do is go ahead and mark this hole with a pencil. And then we're going to take our drill with a 1/8 inch bit, and we're going to drill a pilot hole right in the middle of that. Okay, so then what we want to do is take a lag screw that came with your wood post kit, and we're going to start it in that hole, that pilot hole. And if you want, it might actually be easier to first get the bit started before you hold the wall plate up. Now you got a couple options here. I'm going to go ahead and take this bit out. If you want, you can use a power drill to get it started. Just be careful not to over tighten it. With the power drill at too tight of a setting, you can take it all the way in and strip out the wood, and then it won't bite very well. So what we're going to do is a little harder than that. Okay, just want to back it out. There is a flat washer that goes in there. So what we want to do now, feed that in there. Oops. This guy's gonna fall off. There we go. So we'll get him started. And then I always like to finish up with a ratchet. Oops. Okay. I like to finish up with a ratchet so I can feel hand tight, how tight that is. Now with this screw, you might need an extension on here to get past that. So let me grab an extension. Ratchet to go ahead and tighten it. And again, don't over tighten it. And I'm not tightening this down until I get the other brackets on, okay? So I've got one started. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and attach the rest of the brackets and anchor them to the wood post. And so we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, now that we have the wall plate mounted to the wood post, now we can come back to the owner's manual, the assembly manual, and go to step 6 and complete the assembly. So next step is to take the inlet hose. Okay. Take the male end of the inlet hose, feed it through the back side of the axle, the reel, until it's just showing out the axle. Okay. Then we want to go ahead, slide the reel on, then the hose strap, the brake, and then the swivel. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead, slide the reel. Now when you go to do this, make sure that this white bushing is seated fully on against the flange. Okay, there should be no gap there. So go ahead and slide that on. Same thing here. Make sure there's no gap between that white bushing and the flange. Okay, the next step is the hose strap assembly. Okay, so the way this works is the strap goes in the hole first. Okay, just like this. Slide that in there. And then the cam lever brake goes on. The cam lever brake should look like this. The little tab should be pointing up. Slide it there. This notch goes into this, this tab goes into this notch. So slide that on. Make sure everything is pushed on fully. Okay. And then your swivel threads onto the end of the inlet hose. You can pull a little bit more through if you want, make it a little easier to get to. Go ahead and tighten that on there. Tighten it firmly, okay? And then slide it back on there. And you should have at least a 1/2 inch or so of axle space here. If everything's put together properly, slide this all the way on. And then take your wrench, feed it through this hole, and tighten that collar down onto the axle. Tighten that firmly. And that's what holds everything together, okay? Now you're ready to attach your garden hose to the reel. We have another video that shows you how to attach your garden hose. It can be set up for left hand or right hand operation. okay? And it all depends on this swivel. Now this swivel will rotate, okay? So for right-handed operation, your hose will come through this direction. For left-handed operation, your hose will come through this direction and attach to the swivel. We also have a video on how to adjust and use the cam lever brake. It is a brake designed to apply some drag to the reel so it's not free spinning when you're pulling it out. And then this is in the on position, and then when it's off, it makes it free spinning, making it real easy to roll in. Some people use it as a lock, actually locking the reel in place and really tightening it down. You can do that, but the brake is designed to be a tension brake, okay? Again, we have a video that shows you how to attach the hose, and we also have a video that shows you how to adjust and use the cam lever brake. So that pretty much is the assembly for your wood post mount hose reel.